Right. So in this tutorial, let's see how we can implement the pedestrian AI in our procedural road system. Okay, so the content as follows. Basically, we will look at how we can spawn the pedestrian on runtime along the road, and those pedestrians carry an inventory item to visualize their dynamic capabilities, such as like some may carry a phone, maybe a bag, maybe a cup, things like that. And the pedestrian road transition is another essential thing, which means when there are multiple roads exist or maybe within the intersection, pedestrians can take a decision to make a turn on that specific road or make a transition to another road. And the pedestrian walk side, which means a pedestrian can decide either walk from the left side of the road or the right side of the road. And then let's take a look at the pedestrian crossing, which means sort of like a place where pedestrian can cross the road for the other side. Okay, so let's take a look into the implementations. Right, so this is my level, but this is for the vehicles. So let's duplicate this map for pedestrians, and I'll call this one as map pedestrians. Okay, so it should have these 4 managers, and we have a player start. And for now, let's start with a one road. So I'll delete this stuff. Okay. Right, so I have this road, and we shouldn't spawn vehicles for now. So let's disable the vehicle spawns from here. Right, so now we have a clean road with sidewalks. Okay, so before directly jump into the pedestrian spawning, I'll show you like how the pedestrian AI works, and after that we can take a look into the runtime spawns along the road. Right, so if you go to the characters directory, there we have NPCs, right? So these are some specialized NPCs, and this is our base class, right? So just for the demonstration purposes, I will use this base class. Maybe I will place it on here at the right side of the road, which means the right sidewalk. Right, and if I play it now, you can see it doesn't do anything because its NPC AI system's behavior should be changed to the follow spline path, right? So if you take the follow spline path, the character will decide what is the closest road for this character, and by using that closest road, he will follow the spline, right? So let's play it. Right, so now you can see even if we set the enumerated value to follow spline path, it can't follow it because in your level it should exist a nav mesh volume, right? Otherwise it can't perform a path finding within your level. So for that, let's add a nav mesh bound volume for your level, and I'll change its orientation to the 0, 0 by 0 position. Maybe give it some sort of a scale like this, maybe. $1,000 by 50,000. Maybe you can increase it further. Yeah, this should do the trick. So if you press P on your keyboard, now you can see the amount of area where the nav mesh bound volume applied. Right, now if I play it, okay, still can't do because right, maybe let's perform a debug to move target location, and just for the reference, let's open up the behavior tree as well so we can see what's actually happening. So this behavior tree is essentially controls all the NPC AI behaviors, but in our scenario, in order to follow the spline path, it should run this specific path, right? So let's play. Right, now you can see actually it's running the path, but it can't walk. So let's see why. Right, I think our nav mesh bound volume is not enough to cover the entire space, because you can see it's actually intersecting with the landscape, right? So maybe I can show you if I go to the left perspective. So it's sort of like touching the landscape, right? It's not actually perform a nav mesh bound volume coverage for the road. So what we can do is, let's increase its height as well, maybe up to 400, right? Now if I go to the perspective, you can see now the nav mesh bound volume actually covers the road area as well. Okay, now let's try to play. Okay, now you can see the character is able to make a follow spline path decision, but you can see it's currently following the left path because at your character's NPC AI system, its walk side is configured as left. So that's why actually the character is following the left side of the road. But anyway, if you make it right, you can see how the character is following the right side of the road. And once he reaches to the end of the road, he make a turn and go to the other side like this. Okay. So you can control its locomotion state as well. So currently the pedestrian is jogging, but let's just say if you want to make this character walk on your road, all you have to do is go to the locomotion system of the character and make its movement type to walk. So if you change its movement type to walk, now you can see the character is walking instead of jogging. Right. So those are the features. And one other thing, each of these pedestrian holds an inventory system, which means they can carry a specific inventory item, right? So if you take a look into this DT inventory static item data table, here I specify set of static measures or inventory items that these pedestrian can carry on. Okay, and each of these static mesh item or inventory item has a dedicated anim override, which will be ultimately applied for your own locomotion system to drive their animation accordingly to the inventory item, right? So I can show you maybe locomotion data table for male. There we have the unarmed record, and if you take a look into the unarmed movement walks anim overrides, here you can see for each inventory item I have a dedicated animation override, right? So for example, if the guy is carrying a phone, its own idle animation will be override with this animation so that it will properly visualize he's holding a phone on his hand, right? So I'll show you like how it works. So basically, if I change this character's inventory system static item ID to maybe phone, and if I play it, you can see now this guy is carrying a phone, right? And the proper animation is being played as well. So maybe if I change it to the backpack, now instead of carrying a phone, this guy is having a backpack, right? So likewise, based on the pedestrians, they can have some sort of randomized item so that we will have a much more better visualization for the pedestrians. Okay, right, so now that's for the inventory items, and let's see how we can perform a road transition, right? So in order to perform a road transition, I will again spawn an intersection, and base for the each of these sockets I will spawn a road. So on the C2 we need a road, C3 also we need a road, and finally for C4 we need a road. And all of these roads are two ways with sidewalks, and let's increase their length a little bit like this. Okay. Right. Now let's see what happens. So this pedestrian is now walking. So maybe I will make it much more closer to the intersection. So he's walking, and once he reach to the intersection, he decide which way to turn. So in this scenario, the only road is this right side road, so he will make a turn to there. And here there is no road, so he simply make a turn like this, and now the sidewalk side is swapped for the left side, and he moves there. And over here he again follow this road, and the sidewalk side is swapped until he reach end of the road. So when a character is making a pedestrian road transition, it should swap the walk side, otherwise this guy will walk through the road to the next side of the road, right? Which is not quite good, because if there are vehicles, then the guy can collide with that vehicle. But it's totally up to you. If you need that behavior, you can add that to procedural road system as well. Okay, so that's how our pedestrian AI works. So now I will show you, instead of manually spawning, manually placing these NPCs in your level, how you can spawn those NPCs at runtime. Because ideally, based on your level, those NPCs should be appeared on the road accordingly. So for now, I will spawn the NPCs in this road. So all you have to do is simply click on the road, go down, and we have a dedicated category called setup pedestrian. So simply active the NPC spawns here. So these are the configurations. Basically, it take a random amount of NPCs within this range, and it tries to spawn within this distance range, right? So we have a pedestrian list like this, and you can do debugs via this debug capabilities as well. Anyway, let's try to play it. So now you can see they have been spawning on random places, and they have random walk sides, and they carry a random inventory item, and they follow the spline accordingly. Also, they can perform a road transition as usual. Okay, right. So now let's active the pedestrian spawns for all of these roads. So you will see how everything works properly. Right. Now you can see we have bigger amount of pedestrians that has been spawned on your level, and they basically synced properly. Okay. Right. So those are the NPC spawns. And finally, I can show you the pedestrian crossings, right? Which means in some places I can define in this area, on this area, the pedestrians can perform a road transition to the other side actually. Okay, so for that we have to place pedestrian crossing. So all you have to do is go to the pedestrian road system, under the blueprints, under the procedural road directory. We have a dedicated folder called pedestrian crossing, and simply place this actor on your road. So here we have to change its rotation like this. maybe like this. And I'll maybe change the length a little bit and simply play. So now you can see they spawned, and some pedestrians wait until the pedestrian crossing light become red for the vehicles actually, and they perform a road transition like this. Basically they cross the road, and after they successfully crossing the road, the traffic light has become green, and maybe after some random time when we have enough pedestrians on the pedestrian crossing, it will again become yellow. You can see this guy is waiting now, and once it become red, they can perform a road transition like this. Okay, so maybe let's place set of pedestrian crossings at here and another one at here like this. So maybe I will enhance the length a little bit over here and here too. And let's place another pedestrian crossing over here. So you can see how quickly we can design our road system without modifying our code, right? So now we have set of pedestrian crossing for each roads, so they can perform road transitions accordingly, right? Okay. And also the vehicles actually reacting to these straight lights as well, because within the crossroad we have a straight light to stop the notify the vehicle. Now the characters are or the pedestrians are crossing the road. So when there is a vehicle, so they actually stop according to the straight light as well. So maybe I can show you if I place maybe a vehicle blueprint over here, and at the vehicle I will activate its AI drive, and if I play it now, okay, you can see I paste the vehicle over here. So currently it's tried to, okay, I think the global drive side should be changed, and the level manager, yeah, it is on the right side, which is fine. Maybe I will place another vehicle here, and another two on these roads. Right, so we have 4 sport cars. Now let's see how they work. But actually we have to wait until this straight light becomes red, otherwise the vehicle doesn't know when to stop. So for now, just for the demonstration purposes, I can override the straight lights default state. So if you click on this pedestrian crossing, here we have default traffic lights operation mode. So currently the operation mode is allow vehicle traffic, which means the straight lights start with the green state and act accordingly. But if I make it allow pedestrian traffic, it is start with the red state and act accordingly as usual. So you can see now it's become red. So once it vehicle hit to the or close to the nearby pedestrian crossing, it stop right there, and it can't move actually because we have overridden the straight light state, right? But if we automate this, once actually crossing the road, only this light become red, and then the vehicle will be stopped, and after the straight lights state become green, the vehicles can move, right? So here you can see this vehicle and this vehicle has been stopped. Also here you can see now the vehicle has been stopped, and once it become green only it can move, right? Okay, so I will allow the vehicle traffic again. Maybe let's play. Right, so now it's allow the vehicle traffic, so it can go like this. But sometimes within the intermediate state it will become red, so the vehicle can't actually go, so it will wander around like this, and after a while it will go once it become green, like that. Okay, so right, so those are the stuff that I need to cover when it comes to the pedestrian AI behaviors in our procedural road system. So you can go through the code and get a better understanding about the feature implementations. But yeah, those are the core functionalities. Right. So in the next session, I will show you how we can perform the smart spawning within your level, because currently we have spawned all the pedestrians and vehicles at runtimes, which is not actually good for the performance, right? So here, if you take a look into the FPS, maybe you will see how the FPS is working. So currently it's run under 60 FPS on the cinematic mode of the Unreal Engine, which is the highest scalability quality. But if you have much more higher NPC counts with massive level, you shouldn't actually spawn the NPCs like this, or pedestrians or vehicle AIs like this. It should be managed in the smart fashion, right? So in the next session, I will show you how we can do those dynamic spawn in a smart way, and see you there. Thank you.